Hey YouTube, welcome back to Universe X, and today we are going to do part 1 of 2 of a roundtable discussion with a bunch of really cool guests. I am super excited to get into this. It was a really cool kind of putting it together, and I'm just far too hyped to jump into it to show you guys as well. There's gonna be a lot of informative stuff in here, and we got a lot of talent on the roster this time, so I am just hyped, I guess. So I guess right before getting into it, just want to give you the normal shout outs to the official and non-official pages, and you know, the things that are always in my description links for the card game, as well as TCGMetalZ for providing the sexiest metal cards. And you can always use the code UNIX, which is UNIX, like the channel name, to get 10% off your entire order, which is even sexier on top of sexy. I'm just gonna use sexy multiple times in this sexy sentence. All right, you sexy followers? Awesome. So that being said, if you like the content, think about hitting that subscribe button, because I am trying to grow the channel and, you know, just become bigger and bigger, because I actually am just loving this, and it's just wonderful. This is a good time for me to be a content creator. It just feels so nice. So without further ado, let's jump into the Discord and get into this roundtable discussion. All right, guys, so we are over here in the Discord now with the cast, the actual A-team. I'm just gonna call it the A-team. I never actually had this many good, talented players all in the chat at one time, so I am super excited. I'm just gonna have them introduce themselves because I don't want to be sitting here talking for too long. Who wants to start? Unless we're actually, well, you know what? Alphabetical order, which means Armani goes first.
Oh no, my name has an R in it now, so I go.
Yeah, the D after in Armando
You're right.
makes
Okay,
me
you're right.
first. Yeah,
Armando does go before Armani. All right, you got it.
There you go. Hell yeah. What's up, everybody? I'm Armando D'Alessandro. I'm a Canadian player. I'm on Team Hermit Style. My claim to fame is getting 5th in a bunch of webcam tournaments, and then I won the side event nationals.
Hot.
Hey, hi, my name's Armani. I don't have any of those little cool accolades he just did. That's my name.
Stirring.
Are you sure about that answer?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, now we're about to get to big accolade himself.
What's up, everybody? Name's Jordan Markle. On Crossroads TCG, you know, rep the team, and won 2018 Nationals. Scrubbed out in 2019 and 2021, in my opinion, but I got 3rd, but it was all right.
Still broken, bro. That's still
Those are my goat horns, by the way. Yeah.
Thanks for having me on, Chris.
No
All right, who's the guy shrouded in mystery?
Who's me? Who's me? This guy? I'm Miguel Cajias, from El Topo Loco. I'm from Jersey. Thanks for having me on, Chris. I'm just here to have a good time.
Miguel, can you say that last name one more time?
Cajias.
Caquias?
Yeah,
Like cookies, but fancier.
kind of.
Caquias.
I'm sorry. The moment he was blacked out, I was like, I had to do this. So, like, you'll go back to hearing Miguel's normal voice.
Yeah, whenever they like have ever announced my name, like in like Top Cut, like they never say my name right, and it's.
I imagine it's like Caquias or something.
Yeah,
like that.
dude, it's awful.
Yeah.
My whole damn
They
life.
preach.
My whole damn life.
Same, man. You should have seen Pathfinder struggle to say my name.
Man.
If y'all
I've topped
only
here
knew.
and there, and that's it's been a while since I've actually played in anything relevant that we've had. Honestly, I haven't done any webcam, so.
It is what it is. It's been a funky year for tournament play. I'm about to have way too much fun with Miguel's introduction. This is about to be great. But no, this is cool. This is cool. We have had a really weird year, and luckily, I feel like Nats as a whole was a crazy cool experience in terms of like how they put it together. But we're gonna actually go over some topics. I'm gonna split this discussion into 2 different parts, so you're not watching a full-blown 70 OLED length video. And that's actually just going to be how it works. So, the first topic though, now that Nationals is over, and I think everybody in this chat except Miguel shrouded in mystery went to Nats. However, I mean, most of the stuff is relevant to pretty much everybody. So, Yeah, my first question is from like kind of like an aesthetic view, kind of how the event flowed at least. How does everybody feel that Nats ran as like an event, like how it was put together, how it was like kind of presented and whatnot? I don't know who wants to start off.
I mean, I can start. Nobody else wants to.
Yeah,
Joe can start.
I don't know. I think like as far as like the tournament itself, like the the TO and how they ran it and stuff, it ran really smooth. There's obviously a couple missteps along the way, but that's every tournament. Like there's not going to be a perfect tournament, but it was pretty close. Like I definitely think it was ran extremely well. And without going into too much detail, I mean, I think everybody did a great job.
I'm just going to quickly add on that. It's interesting that all the worst parts were the players' faults.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh, with the clutch mute. I dig it. He cognizant.
I think it ran fine. Yeah. I mean, like considering this nationals, I think it ran smoother than last nationals.
I was at last Nats, and that was awful the way they ran that event. So
Despite the relatively short notice that we had, I think they did a really good job organizing it and keeping it on track. So that was cool.
Definitely agree with the money there. 2019 was a shit show. But
I was saying, like, you mean when they had no Nats, right? That's like last year's a webcam tournament. That's what I was like, yeah, I like the webcam finals. Who was he like?
Last Nats, whatever Nats.
I was actually really, really happy with it. Like, I did agree that it ran smoothly, but I also kind of liked how sometimes companies, they try to do everything by themselves, and it kind of runs worse for it. But I really feel like this time, Bandai did a really good job at kind of outsourcing certain things to people they knew could handle it. Like, just going to stage 0 for the stream, for instance. That was, like, really cool, because we kind of know, like, I don't think they would have done that stream well enough on their own. So they were just like, hey, look, you do good streams. Why don't you just hop in here? And then same with commentary. They could have just put like anybody on there. And I mean, to an extent, they kind of did. I'm gonna throw shade. Like there was a lot of good energy. There was a lot of good. I thought it was just really cool how they divvied things up, let everybody kind of be involved, and no, it was really good. Like whether you had the analytical side of like Zap or like just Aspire, or whether you had like the straight up energy from Tony and C-Rod, when they were both on camera together, it was just like ping pong. Like I actually just really liked the event as a whole.
I would have liked if they swapped it up a little bit more. Like for example, had Aspira and Tony G, or C-Rod and Eggman, because I found that for the commentary, and again, I only watched a little bit after the fact because I was there, obviously, but there was a lot of similar, like they were pairing similar personalities, and I would like to see more of a clash in the future.
Got you.
yeah, I definitely agree because I watched the whole stream because I wasn't there, obviously. Yeah, and you could have like a funny bit to it, but also you need some like analytical gameplay. Like if you don't know what certain cards do, then you shouldn't be commentating that. So that's the way I look at it.
The straight man, funny man is the classic in comedy.
Not throwing shade at anybody though. I'm just saying that's just how I looked at it.
I mean, even if you were throwing shade, actually no, we gave out your government name. I was about to be like, nobody knows who you are, and then I was like, nah, we definitely can search you up on social media. All right, so I next want to kind of ask you guys, because we all, for the most part, we either watch the rounds or we were in the rounds. What do you guys think about the health of the format going into nationals? Because sometimes you guys know, you go into a tournament and you feel like, oh man, this is pretty like cool. I really enjoy the format. Or sometimes you're like, man, this stuff is straight volatile. So I just want to know how you guys felt about that.
I think this particular format was a lot more wide open than some of the previous national formats, that, especially the ones that from the previous years. So, like, even just kind of looking in this particular conversation here, we have Jordan play Cell Surge, Armando played Gogeta Zeno, I played Majin Buu, you played U7 Gohan, Miguel would have played Soul Striker if he went. Like, there were so many different decks that were in the event, and, like, most of them were playing at the top tables. Like, there was several different decks. It was a really wide open format.
It too diverse though. Like, and it sucks to say it, but I think the format was too diverse, and I think a lot of players fell victim to like what we call the loop or the circle, which is like you think about what the best deck is, you build your deck to beat the best deck, and then that best deck doesn't exist anymore because nobody was playing it. Like Jordan ended up on the positive side of the loop because everybody was playing against Cell Surge, and then nobody's playing Cell Surge. I'm not going to decide. I'm not going to main deck for it. So, like I know me personally, I took a deck that wasn't going to lose to Cell Surge, and then I never ended up playing it.
Yeah, I also took a deck that was like very favored against Cell Surge, but I also didn't end up playing against it. And you know, for what we expected to be the best decks, even like our best decks list was pretty long. So it just was a lot to prepare for. Like a 15-card sideboard does not do justice to prepare for an 8-deck format, you know? And that made it very easy to fall victim to the circle.
Yeah, I'm about
First
to.
4 rounds.
Yeah, like I 100% agree. Like I went into the match thing or the games thinking that, you know, Gogeta, Zeno, Cell Surge, Soul Striker, and Icarus would be the thing. I was like, if Gogeta, Zeno high rolls, it just high rolls. So I have to like try to race while playing smart and not like getting myself killed. But Cell Surge is the reason why like I main things like Kabas. I tried to tune my deck to either have a good matchup versus Cell Surge or Icarus, at least game 1 before side, and then just trust my natural blue matchup. And I faced 0 Cell Surge, I faced 1 Soul Striker, and I faced 1 Icarus out of 8 rounds. I felt like devastated over this entire thing.
What else did you play? What else did you play against?
I got a bye first round. I played against Sin Shenron. I faced Xenosin. I faced Monkey Gohan. I faced Vegex. And then, yeah, you had Soul Striker, you had Icarus, and there's one more matchup. And I'm sorry if you're watching this, because I swear whatever we did was memorable. Oh, wow, Jerry Bishop with Hash. Yeah, I faced Jerry Bishop.
Damn, that's a spread, bro.
I was floored by the amount of Sin and Xenosin. I did not expect that.
Yeah,
That was I also played against the Sin and the Xenosin, and I was like, I don't even know what your cards do. I have to read everyone.
Meanwhile, Jordan over here showing everybody why the Boogeyman was the Boogeyman.
Yeah, I mean, going into the format, like going into Nats, like I don't know, like I thought there was gonna be a lot of Icarus, a lot of Soul Striker, a lot of Xeno Gogeta, and realistically, like I think Surge Cell, like in my opinion, is the strongest deck in the format. There's a lot of counters to it, but I feel like it is a super powerful deck, regardless. But I just didn't think there was gonna be that many people on it. So like, I really thought that if people were actually like main decking and preparing for just Cell Surge, they were gonna end up like playing other matchups and like just not like, you know, not utilize the cards they put in their deck. So I played off that, thinking that more people would think that way as well, and then, you know, I'd have to deal with it. I still main decked cards for like the hate, because obviously, you know, you just gotta be prepared. But I really didn't think Cell Surge was gonna be that represented. And like out of the whole tournament, like at least from where I was sitting and looking at decks, like I know 3 of my teammates played it. But outside of that, like I don't think I saw another. I know there was more there, but I didn't see one. You know what I mean? Like I was looking around the room and I didn't see many people playing it. So like that's also a factor. But I mean, like you said, like this format was so wide open. Like I was thinking about like this, like all 3 Nats, and like thinking how this one was the most wide open. And honestly, I think 2019 was the least open. I think Brawly and Shenron were miles ahead of every other deck in that format, even though I played Toa like an idiot. But like, you know, it happens. But like, and then 2018 was like in the middle ground. Like Storm was obviously popular, but there's a lot of decks that could compete with it. But it was just like so open. And then like I ended up playing against Android 16, which conveniently didn't know what any of the cards did. And I played it in Swiss and in Top Gun. It was my only loss.
That's such a huge
just like-
advantage. Like somebody playing a deck that they know like in and out, but you don't know what it does.
I played against the Android 21 guy, and I got absolutely curb stomped because I had no. I'm like, I haven't even seen this leader since set 8 or whatever, whenever it came out. Like, I have no idea what this deck does. I thought he was going to try and mill me out, so and he was just like a blue beatdown deck. But it's just to briefly touch on going back into the loop, because Jordan said something really high level that maybe you guys might have missed, the viewers. So when he was saying, like, if I main deck for Cell, I'm making my deck worse, right? So if I go against a mirror, I'm playing against someone who has a better deck than me because they're not main decking bad cards for a matchup they haven't seen, right? So the theory is the farther along you go, the more like the rogue tech builds are going to fall off. And if you dodge them out of the opening first 2 rounds, you're probably not going to see a main deck answer against you, and you're going to have a really strong game 1. I think that was like the theory that Jordan was kind of going with.
Very well explained.
So what you're saying is the GOAT has GOAT mentalities and has GOAT results. Got you. Understood. Like, this makes sense.
I think it's very important when going into an event like Nationals. Like I was preaching that as well. Like compartmentalize that concept there, where you are going to run into like pretty much anything in this first half of the event. So like if you're too teched out against a deck that you feel like is heavily represented, it's a very high chance that you're not going to make it past those first 2 rounds. So like when you finally run into it, your record is so like messed up that it's not going to make a difference. Like I played Majin Buu, so it didn't matter what I ran into. Really, I was pretty much on the fence with every matchup because my deck doesn't do anything. But conveniently, I didn't have to worry about preparing for any specific deck. I just had to know what my deck did well enough, and everybody else had to read my cards.
You do have to read Hercule like 5 times because that crap makes no sense, but...
I would have to read every single card. Not even joking. Like,
dude, like, props out to Android 16 getting as far as it did. Like, it's taken nothing away from the player, but it's actually really wild because I've played against the deck a lot of times. We have a person in our play group that definitely loves the deck. No decks that could be 50-50s or even slightly advantageous versus 16 were ever getting past the current meta as it is. Like, it's just actually wild. Like, 16 would have no real like threats, like immediate counters once it got past the first half of the tournament if it had a winning record. So like that was one heck of a meta call.
Yeah, my teammate Zach took Android 16, and he played 2 rogue decks round 1 and 2, got 2 losses, and then smashed all the meta decks he played against. But he was already he was set so far back from the rogue decks he played round 1 and 2 that it didn't matter anymore.
See, I wasn't gonna put his name out there, but that's exactly what I was talking about. Like, we were playing in the Airbnb, and he was like, "What does U7 Vegeta do?" And then Nick Green was like, "Look, all right, I'm gonna show you what it do." And he was like, "Wow." All right, but like you're not gonna see that like this late in the tournament. So I mean that is what it is. Miguel, do you have anything to add? Because you were the only person that didn't really get your segment.
About what exactly?
I was just talking about the health or lack there. The health or lack thereof.
I'm just listening, man. I'm listening, man. I'm taking it all in.
No, I dig it. So if everybody's cool, I want to ask about the time rules, and I think I'll start off on this one because a lot of people have been buzzing around about it. The fact that now if you get to time in game 2 and you're not finished with it, automatically whoever won game 1 just wins. You only go into turns if you get to game 3. A lot of people have been hating on it, and I'm kind of like odd because there was my second round I was really pissed because I was in game 2 and I got to my turn with like 2 Divine Presence, a 3rd in hand, my Supreme Kai in hand. I had a stacked board and I was just looking down 3 30k blockers. And I was just sitting here with 3 super combos in. I was like, okay, I'm about to go off this turn. He only has 3 life. And then I looked at the clock and I had 37 seconds left. And I was like, there's absolutely no way I'm resolving like 11 swings this turn with combo power. Like, there's just no way. So I was a little upset. But, I mean, Fashbender, he pretty much was just letting me know. He was just like, hey, like, the way these things work out, the more ties you get, the more detrimental it actually is. Like, a single tie will put you above, a loss. But when you start getting 2 ties and 3 ties, you start kind of messing up the bracket. And I think they were scrambling to try to fix that. Because, like, I'll be the first person to say it. Only reason why I have a first place at Gen Con is because I didn't have any ties on my record. Like, everybody else in that top 8 was a significantly better player than me. And I just, like, bunny hopped over it because they were all, like, X02, X03. And so ties do kind of really skew up things. But I do want to know your opinions about the stuff because I feel like in general, it doesn't really change the strategy. We still had decks that were trying to take 40-minute game 1s and then not finish game 2s. It's just that now, like, if you get caught lacking in time, judges come over and they're like, put your crap down. You lose. You win nothing. Good day, sir. And then you just feel bad.
So I think if the games were 5 or 10 minutes longer, that would have been huge. Like just the rounds being 5 or 10 minutes longer would have been huge because it would be less of a scramble in your last few turns. And the only other thing I would suggest is every player should have gotten a cheat sheet with how game ending procedures are calculated. Because I saw a lot of people game 2, game 3, they're like, wait, what is it? Is it cards in hand? Is it cards on board? Is it cards in deck? Is it life? Like what
You're at
determines
Nats. How do you not
wins?
know this?
Dude, because they made the rules the day of Nets. That's why I took a deck that wasn't going to go to game 3, bro. That wasn't going to go to time, bro. I was like, I'm never playing in time.
Be real.
I'm playing Gogeta.
If you're carding cards in hand or cards on board for the win, you don't need the win. You don't need the win.
Oh,
You did not pilot
okay.
chase.
I know somebody who had swung, had a different battle card, Heroine's Lineaged, just so that his opponent would have more cards on board.
Ooh.
To win the game in time. I was like, that shouldn't exist. I shouldn't be like, oh, I'll lineage your battle card. We have equal life. Good job, idiot. Like that should not have been how good.
I don't know. That's
calculated.
next level. That guy may be like a shadow rival to Jordan. That's a GOAT play right there. Like, just change the number of battle cards. Literally take you down 1, plus me 1. That's a +2 an advantage, and he just won the game.
I mean, these things are part of the game now, though. Like, you gotta just adapt, man. Like, it's ugly, but it's part of the game now. That's how it is.
But I agree. But like within the rule set being fresh, I would have liked a cheat sheet saying at the end of game in game 3, this is how the tie is decided.
I definitely wholeheartedly feel like I understand why they were trying to do this. I don't think Nationals was the tournament to experiment in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can agree to that. I
You guys
think
you guys
that.
think an hour is enough? No.
I mean, I've never thought an hour was enough, but I'm also slow, so. But I mean, going into the time rules, like, I don't know. I think that like, and just like my couple complaints on it is like, I just think that like there's a lot of players that were playing the like the turns, the 10 minutes on the clock after the hour expires. Why is game 2 not get that same luxury? And I know the reason behind it. They don't want draws, but at the same time, like, not letting them play the 10 minutes literally does nothing to the tournament. That 10 minutes is gonna happen anyway. You're not making the tournament faster by taking away that 10 minutes from that game 2, which I really dislike. Obviously, I don't like sudden death game 3. Like, that's a top cut procedure. Like, obviously these are the things they changed, but I just don't think that's
I have a special guest.
Oh, snap.
Oh my gosh.
She's off camera now, but she was adorable for the split second she came through. Look at that.
Aw.
Look at her.
Gonna be here.
She don't get the looks from you.
All right. Rivalry on camera already. Save it for the Discord. Save it for the Discord. He unmuted himself just to throw that jab, and then just muted himself again.
I have to say, I'm pretty in agreement with Jordan here. So, in my personal experience here at the tournament, this one particular thing like really kind of stung harder than most of the rest of the new rules. So of course I bubbled out. For everybody that knows, I lost in round 8 and went down into like 24th place from a clear cut top 16. So in my last game, like in round 8, I lose game 1. It was a pretty consistent game 1. And for the record, I feel like if I had played a game 3, I'd have lost that too. So me losing the match was pretty much gonna happen, I feel. But there was a space here in game 2 where under normal time rules, it would have resulted in a draw and both players would have made top cut. Now, am I happy to say that I would have gotten in the top cut by drawing the game that I clearly would have lost? No, of course not. But for the purpose of the 0, 1, 2, 3 not existing in game 2, I had to look back at the clock, realize I'm starting a turn that I could have a potential lethal turn, provided I sequence correctly. And I know my deck is a 15-step sequencing. I have 2 minutes to pull this off exactly the way it's supposed to happen, provided my opponent has no counterplays. Like, this isn't like the obvious last turn of the game. And it was terrifying. It was terrifying. Like, I start scrambling. I'm activating card effects while I'm summoning cards, while I'm swinging with cards. Stuff's all over the place, and I missequenced very hard. And, like, if I had a chance to win, it was gone. But then, hindsight 2020, I know for certain I had a few different things I could have done different. Where I could have ended that game at least in a draw. And I'd have been on top. You know, all my opponent has to do is just play the same consistency that he's been playing because he's under no pressure. He's already won game 1. You know.
I 100% feel that. Like in the situation I was talking about with 4 swings with Divine Presence, I was literally just going to swing, and the moment he blocked with the Sin that can negate effects into coming into play, I was just going to put all, like 2, maybe 3 of my super combos on a Divine Presence, blow that thing out of the water, and then on my next swing, I'm just going to play another Divine Presence and my Kai, and then I have more swings to punish him with. And it was just like 37 seconds. Okay. Like, alrighty then. Like, scoop it up.
Yeah, that's the main thing I don't like about it. And the only other thing I was gonna say was like you were talking about like how like in a tournament setting, like you know you won the Gen Con because you didn't have those draws that like put you above other people, stuff like that. So like in a tournament with Top Cut, I feel like the first draw is okay. Like getting 1 draw is perfectly fine because that gives you the tiebreaker edge over anybody else. You know, that has 2 losses instead of the 1-1, 1 loss, 1 draw. So it gives you that good tiebreaker, which was fortunate enough for me. Which that's what was my record going into top 16 was X11. So that helped me get in over all the X2s. But once you get that, like every draw after the first one is essentially a loss because like you don't need the tiebreaker anymore. You're gonna top at X11. So the next one's essentially a loss, and then everything further knocks you out of the tournament. So, like you were saying, just like kind of pointing that out. But
no, I think
so,
a lot of
first one's good.
Yeah, and a lot of people I think have a misconception with a draw is always better than a loss. When it's exactly like you said, the first one and hopefully only one matters the most. And when you start stacking them, you could have no losses, but your 3 draws count as a single win. So you are literally just under people with worse records than you. And it's just kind of bad from there on.
I think if they want to cut rounds and speed the tournament up, they should just do clear top 16 moves forward. Like, I get that sucks for a lot of people, but everybody who's XO round 6, congrats, you made day 2. Like, I think that's much faster. Because Swiss doesn't matter anyway. Your top 16 or your top 16. The Pt.1 undefeated doesn't matter. It should literally just be like clear top 16, go to top 16.
I do think that the fact that they're trying to change things up shows that they are trying to find a solution. Like I said, I don't like that Nats was the testing ground, but I don't think this is going to be the last set of changes we have on the tournament scene. I think they are actively trying to find out how they best work this out. And with enough people complaining about Nats, and a lot of people actually saying the same thing, wanting that kind of Pokemon, like, hey, if this is your record, you are moving on to day 2. You keep playing, and then you see Top Cut. I think we will see some more changes.
I think that... no, you're good. Sorry.
Oh, no,
I was just going to talk after you were done. I was just going to say, like, to push back on that a little bit, just because, like, I think Swiss is heavily overvalued in a lot of games, and it already is in this game for sure, especially play to 1 undefeated rule. But, like, I think, like, even reducing rounds further, it's just a terrible player experience. Like, it's already bad enough, like, with the Armani situation, or, like, other people, like, you know, just, like, not being able to top cut because of the BS of the playing to 1 undefeated. Because you give the X2s another chance to like get another win, get better breakers, and get into the tournament when they cut the Nats short 1 round. So you're just not having a good player experience, and I think anything less than the rounds we're currently playing is like just really bad, and it's gonna like push a lot of people away from like playing. Like I just don't think it's a good player experience. I think if we do something like Magic or Pokemon where there's like a day 2 cut, like anything X2 and above or like X3 and above, however you want to do it, they do that, but they also like play a ton of rounds. And so like that's like counterintuitive to what like they want to do, which is reduce time. At least that's what it seems like they're playing. But
I dig
I
that.
don't know.
I mean,
I just wanted to say that.
Alternative, and I don't think Flesh and Blood's a great game. I'm going to say that right off the bat. I do really like their pre-side system. Like, it should be, I show you my leader, I tell you the colors in my deck, and then we side, and then we just play best of 1.
Whoa,
and that'll
so
save
they got the training wheels. That's a whole different conversation. I don't know. It's been a while since I played competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, but like YCS is like I liked being able to finish my records, see my standing, and being told that, oh yeah, you're in top 125. You get to go to day 2. And then, you know, like from there you have a couple more rounds before top cut. Like either way, it just like, I don't know. There's lots of things, but if we go into that too deeply, we might just have an entire another content worth of
Yeah, I
video,
don't
but
derail us with like the true best of 3 doesn't really matter because it's all based on die roll and then sides after that.
oh, nah.
But yeah, I agree. It's a huge a sidebar conversation.
Now-
I
now
agree.
I just-
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine tabling it.
I was like, now I just have another video at
Yeah.
some point or other. See, this is free
Yeah.
real estate.
Just the last thing I know I keep adding stuff to this, but like why is it that we have to find something new, or not have to, but like in theory, why do we have to find something new that works when what we had prior worked fine, and there was never like any time issues with tournaments? Like I never left a venue like later than like 10 o'clock, like or something like that. Like I don't remember that I did. Like I remember playing Pansy and they did everything best day 1, and like I left the venue at one event getting top 4 at 2 a.m. So like, you know what I mean? Like I've never had that issue in DBS. I don't know why there's a time constraint like issue. Like
It's also
I don't know
the
why they're
biggest
cutting out.
tournament. The biggest tournament of the year. Like there should be
Like-
no like limit. Like if you're gonna be
Yeah.
there all day, like that shouldn't be a big deal. Like,
like,
it's the
first-
biggest tournament.
And first year Nats ran perfectly. Like I don't know anybody that said they went to first year Nats said, oh that was terrible. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was just a normal ran tournament. There was nothing crazy. Like obviously people could say I'm biased, but like unbiased opinion, honestly, like it just the tournament ran fine. There was no issues. I just don't know why we have to change something that was like already working.
I will say, I think a lot of mid-range decks do kind of. I think at some point people did shift to that long game 1, hold game 2 mentality, because first Nats was amazing, but let's be real, you got to 5 energy and you were Shinji-ing somebody, or you just were getting blown out by Storm. Like the games were not like I mean you weren't really going these like
Draw them a Fubo, get good, bro.
that is pain when you unfairly drop your opponent down to 3 life and they draw an out and you're like, how dare you? How dare you? Is everybody okay with moving on to the next topic? We only have, I think, 1 or 2 more for part 1. I can just take a quick break. All right. So the next one. This is actually going to be pretty short. And actually, you know, we kind of already covered it, so it won't even be like a long thing. How do you guys feel about Nationals announcing that we'd have 9 rounds, if I'm not mistaken, and then just 2 rounds away from the end being like, JK, like, it's probably going to be 8 if nobody ties?
I hated that. I hated knowing they're like, oh yeah, you got to win this round if you want to get top cut. Because it puts way too much, like for me, that was going into my final round. It put way too much pressure on an already fatigued player when there's no coffee at the venue and there's no coffee available anywhere at the venue. Like,
Nice coffee, got you.
yeah, exactly. I needed it. I needed some caffeine in me to push it through the day. Like I was exhausted by the
I
end.
feel that.
But
Also, I wasn't a fan of it personally. Like it could have ended at 7. It could have ran to 9, and it would have been a better experience for me either way. The fact that it stopped at 8 screwed me personally, because that would be the 1 round I'd bubble, just always. But like, I think what really mattered here in the grand scheme is like when they started the event, they called 9 rounds. So most players, especially like the competitive players, are already doing the math in their heads what they need to do to top. So you have some players in like round 6, round 7 looking to play to 9, right? And then you find out that it's round 8, and maybe I just blew my chance of topping in round 7. Because, you know, X2s tend to top at 9 rounds a little bit more often than they do in 8 rounds. But at round 7, you know, you hit X2, you could still top in 9 rounds. Probably not going to top in 8.
I know personally it was definitely kind of a detriment to me because like midway through the tournament, I got a 3rd loss, and that sucked because it was against my best matchup to some BS. You can look at the other video about my tournament report to it, but at that point, I had to look at my record and I went X3, what's even worth playing for? And going on 9 rounds, I was like, okay, there's still a chance to at least get some additional prizing off of this. And I won out. Like I won 3 rounds like in a row, and then just realized they were cutting it short. And I was like on a hot streak, and I was like, okay, if I'm playing to hopefully just get a little extra prizing, this is good. But the moment they said that it was done at 8, or it was about to be done at 8, I just realized that I had sat through those additional rounds for literally nothing. It didn't matter if I won all my last rounds like I did. It just didn't matter. So that kind of sucked.
I don't know. I think the way they announced it was really bad because like I already knew a lot of people should have known that we're playing to 1 undefeated. So with the way they announced it was not good. They should have said 9 rounds or into 1 undefeated, and I don't think I ever heard them say that. I wasn't really paying attention exactly, but I don't think they said that, which is like something they should have done, because in the floor rules it says we're playing into 1 undefeated no matter what. So like the round count shouldn't even have been said, or it should have been said like 7 to 9 depending on, you know, being undefeated or whatever. And like I'm gonna push back like on the X2 thing, because like I think a lot of the X2 should have topped. I think they should have topped, and the reason they didn't is because we're playing top 16. Like nationals should be top 32. Like they're valuing Swiss so highly. Like it's just like top 16 also makes Swiss value more highly, and then also removing the round, like also Swiss is weighted higher. So it's just like they're just putting so much emphasis on Swiss when, like, in my opinion, I think top cut is really where, you know, the excitement is. Like you're playing one game, you win or go home. You know what I mean? Like that's way more exciting, even if it's top 32. So I don't know. Like I just think they weigh Swiss too much. It's the same thing about the other things we were talking about, but yeah, I just don't agree with it.
That's
Especially with almost 400 players.
Yeah.
Like,
top 32 definitely should have been it. I have to give a shout out to Jonic. Like that was heartbreaking seeing him get 17, because he practiced really hard for this tournament.
Dude, I played him for I played him for 16 hours straight. Like he just wouldn't let me go to bed. He's like, no, another one. I'm just like, damn, bro, you really trying to grind this deck right now? I was like, I'm just trying to get some sleep.
And he worked really hard just to literally just miss. And as an X2 record, that was unacceptable. Like another round, he probably would have been in there for sure. Like that hurt.
Yeah.
I think X2's easily ran way down into the mid late 20s, because like I was 24th at X2. I tied for X2. The guy behind me was X2. Like X2 ran pretty far down. Like
I was told they ran down to like 70th or something. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm trolling. Set 60, 70.
no, I was X3 and I got 57.
7.
so
Okay.
like top 32.
Like 40 maybe.
Definitely have put more X2s in there.
Yeah.
Like
Most of them.
And I think, like, bro, for 8 rounds or 9 rounds or whatever you're playing, that's a lot of rounds to like be X1 for 6 or 7 straight rounds, lose the last round, and you're going home. Like that's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough.
That actually is like, oh. So the last one for part 1, and then we'll kind of just segue into part 2, which will be on another video. Likely tomorrow's video when you're watching this. We've been getting a lot of people commenting, posting about other countries' nats. I kind of want to pose the problem. This is going to be kind of like the gossipy part, but do people think it's actually fair that we have the same amount of people going to Worlds when we have a full-blown 8-round best-of-3 tourney and other countries are getting webcam? So yeah, that's just pretty much what I want to know. I want to know how you guys feel about us having the same representation for Worlds when it kind of feels like our tournament setup was harder than other countries' tournament setups.
It's not fair. Like, as a Canadian player, I can tell you, it's either Canada should have its own Nats then, or we should get more invites. Because it's just not fair that North America has 2 of the biggest countries with 2 of the most large player bases, and we all have to compete against each other in one tournament, whereas countries with like 100 players entering their Nats get a Worlds invite. Like, if you're gonna do it that way, we should get 1 invite for every 100 players.
Ooh, that would be spicy.
Wait,
but then Marquise would be. Oh, hold on.
I'm gonna exempt myself from this conversation because I barely know the rules of my own Nats. I don't know how any other Nats.
Well, most of the other countries had webcam best of 1s that only went to best of 3s for top cut. So there are records where some people were able to get 6 wins or 5 wins, a tie, or 5 wins and a loss, and then they go into top cut where they would then play best of 1 or best of 3 and then see who gets the Worlds invite from there. But what this kind of led to was, I mean, of course, you know how best of 1 format can be a little cheesy sometimes, but a lot of people also, I guess if I'm going to play devil's advocate, the other weird part of that is they had to build those best of 1 lists, maining Deborah, maining weird text, and then they get to top cut and they have weird cards. But then after that, it's best of it. It was really odd. But the weird thing is, they all got, I guess, 1 Nats invite, right? Or is it 2? Is it 1 or 2? I think it's 1. So they got 1 Nats or 1 Worlds invite per tournament. But again, we have 2 for an 8-round event with top cut. We literally had double the rounds. To get to a World's Invite, you had to play double the amount of rounds, if not more, than these other countries were playing. And we got
So
to.
can I ask the question here? What is it? What's with the 8-person worlds? Like, why couldn't like first and second players get invites? They could just have a 16-man. Is there really just 8 people playing worlds?
If other countries got 2 invites, I'd feel like that would be kind of wild if we only got 2 invites. Like, we need 6.
I mean, even if we got like 4, like our top 4 goes to Nats, and then 2.
Yeah, that sounds
other
cool.
country. That's 16 people. Like 8 people. That's it.
That's a good idea. Did you come out with that one yourself, Armani, or?
Absolutely. Is it gonna be like single elimination, 3 rounds? Then that was fun.
No,
qualifiers or something on one day. It's interesting.
It sucks because the way they ran it, it's like completely different, completely skewed. And my best to all the European, Latin American, South American players who played in their own nats did well. No one's trying to take that away from you. But like the way your nats was run turned it into a joke. Like, you have last minute qualifiers. You have the best European players, not even European, and gets booted out of Top Cut.
That was
like, it's, you know what I mean? There's no quality control.
He doesn't
There's
even
no
go here.
consistency. But the thing is like he earned his invite to their nationals. Why shouldn't he play? I don't know. There was a lot going on where I was like, man, you guys are trying really hard to like stop the best players in your regions from topping. I don't know. I just thought it was wild. I thought it was infinitely worse than the way our nats were run. Even I thought it was worse than the way the last year's webcam regionals and webcam finalists were run.
I do have to kind of put in a quick disclaimer. This is in no way, shape, or form saying that Worlds is not a lit idea. I am super happy that Worlds is a thing. I'm happy that the prizing got put up as it is. Like, going to Worlds will be a dream. You know, just attending, you're about to make out in like cash. It's just that for it being the first time, it seems like there's a lot of stuff that needs to get smoothed out, which is fair. That can happen with any process in trying to do something new. I'm just trying to get opinions on this one piece. I'm not trying to be like, slam it so you never do it again. But like, I do think this is stuff that should be discussed. It is wild that a person can hit a last minute qualifiers, because we were told that there would be no last minute qualifiers. There weren't any for us. And then you could hit a last minute qualifier, not be from Europe, get to the finals, and then, I don't know, scrub out at your own country's finals? I don't know. That was weird.
Oceania had 100 regionals. Like, you know what I mean? They had almost more regionals than North America did, because TAC was running all their webcam events. So I don't know. That it was really, really mind blowing to me. And again, I think Worlds is a great idea. I'm, hopefully one day I get there, but I just don't like the way they divided the regions and the way each region had a different nats format. Like, I'm glad we went first, because
Italy went.
I couldn't exactly.
I mean,
Sorry?
at the end of the day, the best player is gonna win. I mean, so
That's not true. Jordan got third.
Ooh, that's true. Ooh.
Well, I mean, the best player in the event. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, he said it, not me, but doesn't mean I don't believe it. that Rogue 16, man. I mean, he played great. I can't take anything away from him, but nah, I think I would have got it. But
I say Deval takes the event.
Yeah, Deval played really, really well, and he's an excellent player. He deserves it. Obviously, no one's trying to say I'm making a joke, but like the reality is the way the other nats were constructed, like, it's so illegitimate that it damages our nats format. Because imagine, like, you earn your World's invite in North America after going through your 9-round ringer, after going through your top cut situation. Like, you're playing best of 3 for 12 hours. And then some other guy in some other country played 6 rounds over webcam.
6 rounds over webcam, and then top 8.
Exactly.
3 more
exactly.
games.
8, ew.
And you got like,
just like,
again, Launch versus Hatch in the finals. Like, in the finals for one of these. And again, we're not trying to like poop on like any other.
Nah, yeah, they're piloting.
According to Armando, Hatch should be banned, right?
Hatch should be banned.
Hatch
I'll
is the
stand by
biggest
that. I'll
killer.
defend that all day
Yeah.
long. Hatch is an uninteractive deck. I lost to Hatch
Hey,
in my
that's part
final
2.
round.
That's part 2.
Okay.
I literally have a section in part 2 for this. So does anybody have any other questions? Or any
I'll talk
other
a lot
comments?
more in part 2 for sure.
Alright,
I do have a. I don't know, like getting third place and not going to Worlds, like it hurts. So obviously, like I'm a little salty about it. Like I don't know. I think that's fair, but yeah, I just think like watching the other regions and like seeing the other regions and like again, trying not to take anything away from anybody that did well because they won their region fair and square. I just don't think the competition is at a higher level in those places, and they just like them getting they did get one Worlds invite, but also like Europe got one, France got one, Italy got one, right? It was like one. That's one There's like one continent. Like we got 2. Like they got 3
Oceania's-
essentially.
Yeah.
Like Oceania got 1, and then did Asia get 2? I'm
No,
tripping.
LATAM.
I can't count. Oh,
Yeah.
they got 2. Yeah, because it was Asia and then Latin America. Yeah, so yeah, 1 and 1. Okay, but yeah, so I mean Europe ended up getting 3, and their player base is nowhere near as big as ours. So I don't know. I feel some type of way about that, but that's also probably because I'm salty.
No, I mean, to be honest, I definitely feel like that is valid. Like I said it at the beginning of this, I don't think any other regions nationals. I know people are going to be like, oh, Americans trying to get American treatment from Bandai, but like really, like let's be real. We had a lot harder of a tournament. Like we got there at 9 a.m. and if you were grinding through, you were still there past 9 p.m. Like that was a full day, and it wasn't from the comfort of like somebody's home. It wasn't in that, like we were out there. So I just feel like, especially with 2 massive bodies, and Armando brought up a really good point. We have
Armani striking
I
again.
almost said it. Almost said it. Yeah.
I
Fusion dance.
traveled for 13 hours. You know how much better, like mentally, I would have been if I was in the comfort of my own home and I could snack and drink coffee and not friggin' be awake for 25 hours the previous day to Nats. Like
or COVID masks.
I mean,
exactly.
But it's straight up though. Like if people want to complain that Canada and America get like better treatment, I mean we are some of the largest player base. I'm not saying we should get better treatment, but I'm saying like with that amount of people, with the largest nationals, it makes no sense how our invites to Worlds aren't weighted the same way. But that being said, if anybody else has any closing comments, I think this is where I kind of close off this video and kind of move into the part 2, which should be a fair amount shorter. It's a lot less heavy hitting content, but it's also like it's still pretty heavy hitting. I just don't think it's going to go as much because it's not going to be as charged. But yeah, does anybody have any closing comments?
Yeah, my closing comments is that I hope Miguel turns his light on for part 2.
I'm going to.
See that sweet stuff.
My closing is like I don't know, like all the regions got the same cards and stuff too, like similar pricing, so that's I mean that's also cool. I just think like maybe NA should have got some more Worlds and Blades or something like maybe a little bit more exclusive, but
maybe top 64,
I don't know.
additional top 64.
Should definitely would have
just
been.
other things.
I think top 4 would have been the way to go. Top 4 gets a world invite because
Yep, I can agree to that.
I'm down. So, thank you guys for being with us for this part of the post-national state of the game. I'm actually really, really hyped to get into part 2. We got, like I said, we got a lot of talent. Everybody in this conversation right now just like completely bodies me. So I'm like humbled to have them on the channel to be talking and just going off about stuff. Stop that. And
No negate.
So no negates. So yeah, I'll move right over into part 2, and you guys will see that in the following day. Thanks for watching.
peace.